Yes, I can hear
Okay,
you guys.
good job. All right, so ladies, we're talking about our unique selling proposition. And before we do, I'd like for you to introduce yourself and tell a little bit about you and your business. So let's start with you, Collette.
Okay, so Collette McDonald. I'm actually in Atlanta, Georgia, but today I'm sitting on a beach in Fripp Island, South Carolina,
Oh,
enjoying some
fun.
time at the beach after quarantine. So it's beautiful here. But in Atlanta, where I've been selling real estate for 19 years, I average about 25 to 30 million per year in transaction sales and volume. Um, I'm currently ranked number 8 in the Atlanta Board of Realtors for transaction and volume. I've had teams, but right now I'm an individual with associates that I use from time to time, and they come on board through the EXP platform, and they help me when I need them to help me. So it's not a traditional team. And yeah, and I'm so excited. I came on to EXP February of 2019, and I've really enjoyed it so far, and meeting people like y'all, and masterminding and understanding and learning from everybody.
That's incredible. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us on your vacation.
No problem.
Shaughnessy, I am excited to hear you talk. I've heard you talk on different panels, and I love your approach to real estate.
Oh, thank
Talk
you.
about yourself just a little bit, and it's just, you are exciting to me because of what you're doing, this next generation. It's just incredible. So tell us about yourself.
Thank
You're
you.
a mom.
I am a mom of 2 little girls, and I've been selling real estate for 6 years after getting divorced and needing to make money as fast as I can and have nobody tell me what to do. I don't do well like that. I don't like that very much. I'm very self-motivated and very self-driven, so I don't need somebody breathing down my neck. So real estate was definitely the best career choice for me. It was something that my mom has done to provide for our family our whole lives, so I knew that there was no ceiling on it, and I just dove right in and embraced social media. I sold 44 transaction sides last year for a total of 13.5 million. Um, a couple of years ago, I won our Board of Realtor top 20 under 40 award, which
Oh,
was
awesome.
and very encouraging. And that's about it.
You know what? I love you ladies. You're super achievers, and I celebrate that. It's so fun to hear, Collette, about your achievements, and Shaughnessy. I have been with EXP 14 months, and I do about 40 transactions a year. I have a team. I don't count their transactions in that. And I work in Portland, Oregon, as well as here in Austin. I am blessed to be in the fastest growing city on the planet right now. So we have crazy growth here, and people are moving from all over. I'm sure they are to both of your cities as well, as we're hearing people move from urban centers to the suburbs after the whole COVID thing. They just want to get out of that intensely highly populated area, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So we're talking today about being driven. I love that phrase, being driven, hard driving versus driven. Tell me your unique selling proposition. When someone approaches you and says, why should I work with you, Collette, or why should I work with you, Shaughnessy? What do you provide that might be just a little bit different? Let's start with you, Shaughnessy.
Well, I mean, I am traditionally very different than an average realtor. I'm young and aggressive when it comes to business. I utilize tools and technology like it was something that I was born with, because it kind of was. And I use video in very unique and entertaining ways to captivate audiences and show houses in very different lights, versus, a traditional, here's the kitchen, here's the living room. Everybody knows what makes a house. So what makes this house special? What is different? And I'm just a very open-minded person. There's not a lot of judgment from me, so I kind of gravitate people who are similar in that sense, that just like to be good people, which is something that makes me very happy as an agent, because I don't want to work with somebody I don't like. If I wouldn't hang out with them afterwards, I really don't jive with like working with them.
Awesome.
So my unique selling proposition is that I have the use of tools at a higher level, and I'm super social, and it helps.
Collette, you are such a refined lady. I like that we have this mix here. I think I'm kind of a mix of both of you. And Collette, tell us about how did you get to the point where you are in selling $30 million a year, and what is your unique selling proposition?
Well, I come from, it's funny, I come from a family background of real estate as well. My father was a broker, so I love hearing that your mom was a broker. I'm a mom as well, a single mom. And 9/11, when 9/11 hit, I was actually an executive in a different corporation. I was in the internet world. And at that time, I had to lay off the entire staff, and I was traveling 3 weeks a month. And it was the first day I put my 19-year-old in daycare. And I had a golden parachute, so I had a year of severance. And I was like, and my dad was like, "You sure you want to go back to corporate America? You have this baby now, you travel too much, you know, blah, blah, blah. Get your license. Just go get your license. You'll be great at it." I'm like, "I don't want to be a realtor."
I had no desire to be a realtor ever, at all.
We grew up in this world. It's like, we saw what our parents went through. Thank God we have technology, right? We are so blessed, because you may remember when your mom had to type contracts, or she had to fax contracts.
Book.
Check it out, how to get to the different houses. Or my dad was selling in the 70s and the 80s, and there was no buyer brokerage. There was no buyer brokerage representation. Right. So they would have to go to the brokerage offices. And this is where Caravan came up, because they'd have to go get the keys to show the properties. So they started doing caravans. Right. So it's funny, we have this generational understanding of how lucky we are.
We are so blessed.
And how efficient we can be now with the technology, like you were saying earlier. So I come from a technology background when I was in corporate America. And so I came into the real estate world. And part of my undergraduate degree was in radio, TV, film. And I thought I'd be a television anchor, until I found out how little they made. And I'm highly motivated by money. I'm highly motivated by taking care of my family. So I went into that world, but I used the training that I had as, being an on-air reporter, and I've parlayed that into utilizing video just as you do, in a different way. And what I've done is I've worked with people. I've worked with 3 shows on HGTV, and the way that I got started with that was when HGTV was very young and looking for content. Now they can get content very easily, but it helped my credibility as a realtor to be able to get my clients on HGTV, and also for myself to host a few shows. So they continue to repeat it. It's still in the loop. So every once in a while you may see me on that. But I use that type of credibility booster to actually work with my sellers in particular and say, "Hey, I'm going to do this sales video for you." It's not just a normal walk-in tour, virtual tour, blah, blah, blah. My job is to sell your house. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the top 3 things that are great about your house, but we're also going to talk about the top 3 things that aren't. We're going to sell against it. So 75% of the time, the buyer's going to come into that house and already love your house. They just need that little 25% if I do my job right. So, and I tell my sellers, the reason you go with me is I have the confidence to actually sell your house for you, because that's my job. So when that agent or when that buyer is looking at that video, it's a sales video, 60-second platforms for Facebook, Insta, all of those, but then you drill down deeper into the website and get to have the 5-minute of me selling the house to that buyer with unfiltered access of that other agent, because that other agent may not know anything about the neighborhood, and they definitely don't know the positives about the house. And if there are negatives, like it's on a hill, well, we have built-in security. It's fantastic, so we get to sell against it. So that's how I've utilized video. And that's how I've gotten a lot of clients over the past 5 years when we started doing it. But then the pandemic hits, right? So I'm feeling like I'm the smartest person in the world, not only for coming to EXP and having a virtual platform,
Yes.
still being able to work, but also these videos. Now, sometimes you'd have lazy agents or you'd have buyers that didn't really know how to drill down. Now you're like, hey, you better watch the video and you better send me a pre-approval letter because you're not seeing this house. And we get to be tough. But it's good, right? Because we're tough, but we also know that we don't want to waste our sellers' time, right? But as a buyer's agent on the flip side, I'm helping those buyer's agents coming into this house. They're not wasting their time with people that are just looky-loos and kicking tires. So this COVID thing has been really awesome for my business because not only are we all at EXP, but we've been doing video. Now we're making them watch the video.
Yes, yes. That's fabulous. I also use a lot of video, and it's extemporaneous. Sometimes I'm in my workout clothes as I'm talking about staging, because one of the unique value propositions I offer is complimentary staging. We don't bring furniture, but we do enhance homes. We teach people how to declutter and how to prepare their home. So all of our homes look absolutely gorgeous when they go on the market. And video is huge. And I think the honesty that you're talking about, both of you ladies, is huge. The authenticity as we walk through and say, these are the areas you may not notice that are just striking. And yeah, it's on a regular lot in a nice neighborhood. Not a huge lot, you don't have to mow, etc. But being honest is huge in our industry. Credibility is everything, because unfortunately, realtors don't have a high credibility rating on as usual, but we talk about our credibility. We talk about our honesty. I always tell my clients, my buyer clients, that I sleep really well at night because I'll talk you out of homes as well as talk you into homes that I think are good. And there are certain homes I'll lay down in the doorway and you'll have to walk over me before I'll let you buy them. And people need that kind of honesty and credibility and trust. Shaughnessy, you have done some really fun videos that you referred to. Talk to me about what you do with different things that are a little bit wacky.
So, you know, when I was in college, I went to Fordham at Lincoln Center for Theater, so it's funny that we have a similar theatrics background. Our school was one of the first schools that had the Facebook at the time. So I joined the first year that there was the Facebook. And I learned really quickly that it was something that when I was at a party and somebody knew my name and I had never met them before, I was terrified. And I was like, oh my God, you don't realize the level of stalking capabilities. But I realized very quickly that the level of familiarity, like the person felt like they knew me, and I'm like, who the heck are you? You know, it was frightening at a party, but I realized for business, if I can be in front of people constantly every day, they recognize my voice, they recognize what I look like, they know my tone, they know what I'm about, they know my character. I don't have to, when I come time to meet them to do business and I've never met them before, I don't have to sell myself to them because they've already fallen in love with me for who I am. So it's been a great tool to talk to my sphere of influence every single day. And it's not all about real estate. Our family is obsessed with cats and Disney World. So that's something, like, if anybody ever has a cat question or a Disney World question, I can tell you right now that my best friend is a Disney travel agent, and she's pretty much booked all of my sphere of influence's vacations because I go to Disney so frequently, and everybody always refers to me as the Disney expert, and I'm not. I defer to my travel agent. So it works out a really good relationship with that.
Yes,
but
that's so huge.
In terms of social media, people get on, like normal people that are not business people and on social media for business. Normal people who work a 9 to 5 are on social media for social purposes. So they don't want your business jammed down their throat every time they get on to relax and unwind. And there's a reason why, like, cat videos are like the #1 performing videos ever. has nothing to do with anything, right? So my intention a lot of the times with my videos is to entertain. So I've dressed up as a dinosaur. We did this spoof video about the movie Hocus Pocus. It's kind of like a cult classic, especially with my generation. And so my mom and our teammates, we all dressed up as the Sanderson sisters, like full on costumes. And my friend is a videographer, and like we made like a spoof of what if these three characters sold real estate. And
I love it.
Thank you. It didn't have anything to do with the house, but it was so fun. It was so funny. People were sharing it all over Long Island. So it was just something that was very, very successful and had nothing to do with a particular home, but we just told our team.
I love it. I think the whole thing of social media is so incredibly important. We post 3 times a day, and probably once a week we have something on our business page about real estate, my real estate. I mean, we do real estate things, but mostly it's things that are in our city. Our city is exploding here in Leander, and so we do a lot of businesses, a lot of interviews, and just fun stuff. It's interesting, Collette, you talked about HGTV, and dumb me, we did HGTV, House Hunters in Portland, and it went really well. I had no idea that was a big deal. So my daughter-in-law, who is an incredible, she's written books, she's published books on beauty, she's a beauty person, she's just very gifted. And she said, Mom, HGTV is a big deal. Use that, communicate that. And I'm like, what, really? All I know is it took forever to do it. But I think anything we can use to set ourselves apart is huge. And Shaughnessy, being edgy, I love what you're doing. I mean, it's just, I can't say enough about it. I think that as realtors, we have to reach beyond our real estate world in order to help people. When this whole COVID thing started, I work with, and I'm going to do a shameless plug for them, Be Known Advertising, BKA. They do a fabulous job for me. And one of the things they said was, Ivy, go do a video today saying that you will go video homes for people that don't have virtual tours so they can see them. And there was this incredible tree blooming in our neighborhood. So I stopped my husband. I said, stop, we got to video this right now. And we did. And I've had really good results from that. Just people saying, you would do that for me? Yeah, I'm not afraid of COVID. I'm going to go out and do that. That doesn't, concern me at all. And I'll follow protocols, but my clients are what's important during this season. And so the unique value proposition that you bring, Shaughnessy, is you're talking about your videos and what you do and just making yourself, people comfortable with you. Collette, same thing. One of the things that I do when I first meet a client is I bring a gift bag full of treats. And it's a gift bag that's got my name, Ivy Stanton Homes Team, on it. And I talk to them about why we should celebrate what they're doing. And even clients that will sit with me and say, well, Ivy, this isn't something I'm celebrating. I'm getting a divorce. I have to sell my home. It's not fun. Why are you talking about celebration? And I say, but wait, stop. We are celebrating a new beginning. And for every bad ending, there's a new beginning. And so let's celebrate that. And, immediately clients realize they're more than just somebody who is buying a house. There's somebody that we care about, and we care about the transitions in their lives. And I think during this time where people are losing jobs and some of them are having to sell when they'd rather not, it's important that we keep that incredibly positive attitude and help them with that. Collette, how do you do that? How do you communicate to people individually? You're obviously a mover and a shaker, an incredible realtor, a producer, an influencer. How do you communicate to people how important they are?
Well, I think it's very cool what you do by bringing that bag to your appointment and setting the tone. That's what you're doing. You're setting the proper tone for that client of great positivity, right? I do something a little bit similar, but maybe a little different, which I'll share with you. I wish I had had one with me, but since I'm on vacation, I don't. At the end of the listing appointment, the end of our listing appointment, we've gone through, everything that we need to. I'll look at the couple or the single person, whoever it is, and I'll be like, all right, if it's a couple, I'll say, who's the one that wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning stressing? Who's the one? Who's that person? And they look at each other and they kind of giggle, and they'll say, well, she's probably that one, or he's probably that one. And I have created these medicine bottles, and I haven't shared this with a lot of people because it's such a secret weapon, but I'm going to share it with the EXP clients out there because
thank you. We will steal it. I promise you.
Feel free to steal it because this is probably one of the best lines that I have in my listing appointment. But I'll pull out this big medicine bottle, and on it, it looks like a prescription bottle, and I have my label on it, and it says "Stress Be Gone" pills. And then it has my logo, and it says, when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with real estate night sweats, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. And they open it up, and it's obviously M&Ms. But what's so funny about, with my name on it and all that stuff, I think
I love that.
But what's funny about that tool, right? Or what's good about that tool is the fact that you're helping to set expectations. You're saying to them, hey, it's going to be a little bit hard, right?
Oh, yes,
you
absolutely.
don't know what's going to happen, but I want you to understand that I'm here for you. But I need you to respect the fact that I don't want you to text me at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? I'm setting expectations that talk to me in normal business hours. Text me, call me, email me. I've been doing this for 20 years. I'll take care of you. And it may be a unique situation, but I guarantee you we're going to get through it. And I'm going to help guide you through it. It's not always going to be easy. You're setting expectations. It's not easy, but I'm the professional to take care of you. But it also alleviates some tension too, right? Because they laugh about it. They'll say, is it Xanax? And I'll be like, are you gonna, most of them are doctors and people. I'm like, are you gonna write me a prescription for Xanax? Because I'll start giving them out. And what you'll see as you go through the process of selling their house, when something stressful happens, right? They actually call me up and say, can we have more of those pills? We need more pills. And I'll bring them over more M&Ms. It's just a funny way of setting expectations, chilling them out, right? Chill out. This is hard. It's not easy to sell your house, but it's going to be worth it.
No. And we, all 3 of us, I think, are pretty intense. And things like that just are that hand holding that is so incredibly important. I always tell people when we sell or buy, it's so much fun to get started, and I promise you it will get harder before we get to that finish line. But when it gets hard, I'll be there. Shaughnessy, how do you communicate that kind of care in the midst of your, again, your intense creativity and having a theater background? That makes so much sense to me now, what you're doing. I just love it.
I've always been a nurturer. I was a very young mom. I had my oldest at 24, I think, 24, yeah. So, none of my friends had kids, but I'm the oldest of 5. So I think it's just been very much ingrained in my spirit to be a nurturer. So there's no difference in that with my clients. Like I protect them ferociously. And I always say to them, I'm like your mom tiger. Like my claws and teeth will come out if they have to. But otherwise, no one's even going to touch you because they're afraid from a mile away. But it's just something that I always do. I'm a very organized chaos person, but I care about people very, very deeply, and that could almost be a flaw, right? But I'm very diligent on making sure that they have everything and expectations set, and they never leave a conversation or a text message with me wondering what's the next step. Or what, there's no surprises around the corner because I'm like, okay, we're going down a very long and windy road and it's going to be dark, but look, we're going to turn left now. We're going to turn right now. Oh, okay, let's have a picnic. Here's your baba. Okay, baby. And it's okay. Like, sometimes I need a baba too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We are.
And it's just another thing that's really a grown-up baba. This is my daughter. No, I'm kidding. Another thing that's really important I've found and been able to iron out very quickly and very efficiently is that if you set your people up with the right people, they're going to do the same thing that you do. So
That's right.
your home inspector is nurturing them and
Yes.
helping them. They're not scaring the crap out of them. They're just giving them good advice for what the home has to offer.
Good.
I set them up with the lender that's going to answer all of their questions and take the time to actually explain the finances. You know, a lot of times, I don't know what your price points are, but ours are pretty dang high. So when you're looking at a $4,000 a month mortgage, some of those numbers are astronomical, and they're really tough to swallow. And it's interesting. So a lot of people are very afraid. So working with the right lenders, working with the right attorney. If everybody on your team is in sync with you, it's a very smooth process. And I don't have to be the one taking care of the baby 24/7 because I know that, you know, daddy attorney is doing it and daddy home inspector is doing it.
That's so good. That is so good, Shaughnessy. I love that. Absolutely love that. One of the things that I think is so important and what I'm hearing from each of you is graciousness in the midst of pressure. And I'm appalled, quite honestly, when I talk with different agents, not from EXP, but other companies, at how rude they are, how short they are, the lack of grace. You call and say, "Hi, I'm Ivy Stanton from EXP. I'd like to view your home on," and they'll go, "Uh-huh." Instead of, "Oh, thank you for showing. What time would work for you?" I mean, it's just appalling. And I think that our graciousness and our poise sets us apart as professionals, which we are. We have the privilege of walking with them through the largest probably purchase in their life at this time. And so there's a lot of trust they're putting in us. And I think it's just so important how what you're saying, Shaughnessy and Collette, just your graciousness, your touch, your professionalism. I think we might have lost a bit of that in our industry. And I think it's okay to contend for that, to be gracious and thankful and smooth those edges out. I was with a client yesterday, and he is a software engineer, quite brilliant. And we've walked through, this will be our third transaction together. We went through a really tough divorce, and now we're starting in on a new home. He's bought and sold, and now we're going to find him a new home. And I'm so thankful for his trust. You know, he's walked through some pretty tough things. And I told him yesterday, we met at the construction site. We're walking through mud because it was awful. And I said to him, I said, "I wish we could hug each other because, you know, the COVID thing, obviously." And he said, "I do too, Ivy." He said, "It just feels good to be together again." He got tears in his eyes. And I thought, those kind of moments, don't they just fuel you? Don't they just make you be charged to go to the next situation? Let me ask you one more question about this value proposition. And I love the things that you're doing. How do you communicate that unique value proposition? You're saying, Collette, through videos, video. We can't video too much. Authentic videos, not necessarily hyper polished videos. Is that what I'm hearing you say, both of you?
Collette, you want me to answer?
So I guess I'll pop in. How I communicate to my sphere is very similar through, you know, the social media, but also I go back to the basics, right? So my unique selling proposition is not only adding on the levels of technology, which we have to stay relevant. We absolutely do. We have to put ourselves out there. We have to do live videos. We have to do silly videos. We have to let people see our personality a little bit, but also going back to the basics, returning a phone call, like you were saying, being kind to another co-op agent and not being a witch, unless you're parroting the hocus pocus, which I think is fabulous. I love that idea. But, you know, just going back to the basics of returning phone calls, answering your phone, responding appropriately and quickly. I had an EXP person who is looking at EXP, and he emailed me and he had to change something, and I had emailed and responded to him back in like, you know, a couple minutes. And he said to me, thank you so much for responding back so quickly. Obviously your clients must love that, because you rarely have people respond that quickly. So I was like, you know what, that's true. And we take it for granted, but utmost professionalism, but it's also just going back to the basics and making sure we're taking care of the communication. We're returning phone calls, we're answering phone calls, we're not ignoring people, because it does set us apart. That is why we are icons. That is why we're doing this, is to teach other people to do the basics. But also, you know, I love the fact that by doing the basics, we keep ourselves grounded, right? We're always grounded. We're there to help our clients. We're there to make sure that we are representing their best interests. And I'm excited, honestly, about the market that is coming our way, because I believe a lot of the agents that don't have the basics, don't have that credibility, don't do the work to make sure that their clients are going to be, they're going to be gone. I lived through 2008 and 2012, and that was the best part. And when we came out of that recovery and these agents were coming back, I was competing with these agents. I'd be like, ask them what they were doing for the last 4 years. They went back to work on the internet. They were an assistant here because they couldn't cut it. They didn't know how to do it.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot of opportunity.
I love that. I like your competitive spirit. I went into real estate in 2008.
Wow.
So people were walking out in droves, and it was such a great training time. Shaughnessy, how about you?
Well, I started real estate in 2015, but my mom's been a broker for, I think, 23 years now. So I've been born and raised with real estate, essentially. I mean, I was a human GPS with a printout from turn left, mom. No, the other left. Like, come on, you know. It's that, you know, I can't tell you how many appointments I had been on long before I ever considered real estate. And I didn't want to sell real estate because I saw how hard my mom worked and how little time she was able to spend with us. And it was like stress all over. And for me, I was like, ooh, I don't like that. And when I was in high school, my mom owned her own brokerage. So I worked on the weekends as this receptionist. And a lot of the agents just treated me like utter trash. And until they found out that I was the broker's daughter. And then it was like, oh, honey. And I'm like, okay, I see you, bitch. Like, I already saw you the day you walked in the room, but okay. So that was like my initial, aside from my mom is not like that. Everyone else appeared like that. I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to get into this industry. It's really ugly. So when I was getting divorced and I was home with my kids, I was a stay-at-home mom. Like I had no other choice but to start something and start really fast and really hard. So real estate was obviously a very quick and easy decision for me, but I didn't go into it with the mindset of like, oh, I'm gonna love this. And I think that because I learned my lesson having grown up in real estate with my mom, who's wonderful, and being treated like garbage at the real estate office by other agents, I learned very quickly that there's so many fakes and phonies in the industry. And there's not a lot of authentic, real people. And it would just be very easy for me to be me and come from contribution and just kill it. And that's kind of how I've reacted and acted and been proactively. You know, everybody knows me as like the connector or the source of the source. You know, if somebody needs help, I had an agent text me right when COVID hit, confidentially. He's like, Shaughnessy, I'm texting you and 2 other people because I know you're going to jump to action, but there's like this family that needs food. I'm like, I'm all over it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So people know who you are when you show them who you are, and you're not putting on a show. And like attracts like. So
yes,
you know,
yes.
Just find your tribe and speak to it, and your tribe is going to support you the whole way. So.
That's right. I love that. You talked about Collette doing some videos that are kind of fun and silly. Talk to me about that.
I'm not afraid to go live. So, I'll go live because it will increase the amount of eyeballs that actually go to
Absolutely.
your page.
Yes.
So I think that that's one of the things that I like to do. I wish I had more support in the video realm like you do with your son, Shaughnessy, because I would love to be able to do stuff that are a little bit silly and fun, because I'm very competitive, but I like to have a lot of fun.
That's my son. It's actually just my friend. He
We
was getting
picked that up, Colette.
But I do.
Love
I love the uniqueness of that, and my personality will come out more in the live videos because they're not, they're not edited. So people like to watch those, and then they like to watch the ones that are a little bit more polished. So that's the only thing that I do. And then of course, if they're my friends, they see a different side of me on my personal page, and then the one that's Collette McDonald is completely different. So that's the stuff that I do. Is just giving some insight into our daily lives, I think is important too, because people think that it's so glamorous. So, from time to time, if I have a really awful house, like I did about 6 months ago, where I walked in and a guy was like a hoarder, and he had birds and he had dogs. And the worst part was he was there when we were showing, and we went up to his bedroom and he had piles of dirty laundry, but in front of his bedroom or bathroom door, he didn't make it to the bathroom and had left his soiled underwear there.
Oh my goodness.
So my favorite, I love doing things like, okay, I'm going to take a video of your reaction of this right now, or your picture, and then I'm going to post it like, this is so glamorous. HTTP needs to pick up this one.
You can't.
We all have our awful hoarder story, and mine was similar to that. Honestly, it was, my husband was with me. We walked through the house, and we both just kept looking at each other saying, keep your mouth shut, because they were there. And didn't take that listing.
You know what? But I take the listing and I help them clean it up, like physically help them clean it up, because hoarders have mental illness and they deserve help.
Right,
too.
exactly.
So there's been instances where other agents wouldn't help. I had disabled clients that went through 9 agents.
And I want to bring something up there too, Shaughnessy. I think there are those that we are to take. And my first listing in Austin, after we moved to Austin, I took 17 bags of trash out of it. It was a mom, single mom, on and on. And that we sold. I was happy to do that. I think there are other clients that we need to walk away from. And it's not the right situation for them or for us, because time that we're spending to clean up a hoarder's home is time that we're not spending with our family or whatever. So I think you're really smart to know when to say yes and to just turbocharge the energy and go for it, and when to say no, walk away. That's a big part of our industry.
We could do a whole nother series on how to fire clients. That would be fun.
Oh, that would be really good. You know what? Honestly, Collette, I think we should do that. That would be so helpful for agents, because there are times, Shaughnessy and I had talked about doing a Zoom video on clients that we didn't handle well and we should have done different things with. And I think that might fall into that situation. It would be really helpful, I think. Yeah, because there is a point where you have to say, this is dysfunctional. I need to walk away.
Ladies, so we